Warriors, Into the Wild, Chapter 11. Firepaw returned with a chaffinch gripped firmly between his teeth. He dropped it in front of Tigerclaw, who stood waiting in the hollow.
You're the first one back,
Meowed the warrior.
Yeah, but I got loads more prey to fetch.
Firepaw mewed quickly.
I buried it back.
I know exactly what you did. I've been watching you.
The swish of bushes announced Greypaw's return. He was carrying a small squirrel in his mouth, which he dropped beside Firepaw's chaffinch.
Yuck!
He spat.
Squirrels are too furry. I'll be picking hairs out of my teeth all evening.
Tigerclaw paid no attention to Greypaw's grumbling.
Ravenpaw's late. We'll give him a bit longer and then return to camp.
But what if he's been bitten by an adder?
Then it's his own fault. There's no room for fools in ThunderClan.
They waited in silence. Greypaw and Firepaw exchanged glances, worried about Ravenpaw. Tigerclaw sat motionless, apparently lost in his own thoughts. Firepaw was the first to scent Ravenpaw's arrival. He jumped to his paws as the black cat leapt into the clearing, looking unusually pleased with himself. Dangling from his mouth was the long, diamond-patterned body of an adder.
Ravenpaw, are you okay?
Greypaw rushed forward to admire Ravenpaw's catch.
Did that bite you?
I was too quick for it.
Ravenpaw purred loudly. Then he caught Tigerclaw's eye and fell silent. Tigerclaw fixed all three excited apprentices with a cold stare.
Come on, let's collect the rest of your prey and get back to camp.
Firepaw, Greypaw, and Ravenpaw entered the camp, strolling behind Tigerclaw. Their impressive day's catch hung from their mouths, although Ravenpaw kept tripping over his dead snake. As they emerged from the gorse into the camp, a group of young kids scrambled out of a nursery to watch them pass.
Look,
Firepaw heard one of them say.
apprentices, just back from hunting.
He recognized the little tabby Yellowfang had hissed at the day before. Sitting next to him was a fluffy grey kit, no more than 2 moons old. A tiny black kit and a small tortoiseshell stood beside them.
Isn't that the kitty pet, Firepaw?
Yeah, look at his orange fur. They say he's a good hunter. He looks a bit like Lionheart. Do you suppose he's as good as him?
I can't wait to start my training. I'm gonna be the best warrior ThunderClan's ever seen.
Firepaw lifted his chin, feeling proud at the kid's admiring comments. He followed his 2 friends into the center of the clearing.
An adder!
Greypaw mewed again, as the apprentices dropped their catch for the other cats to share.
What shall I do with it?
Asked Ravenpaw, sniffing the snake's long body that lay beside the heap.
Can you eat adders?
Trust you to think of your stomach.
Firepaw joked, butting Greypaw with his head.
Well, I wouldn't want to eat it. I mean, my mouth tastes pretty foul after carrying it back.
Let's put it on the tree stump then, so that Dustpaw and Sandpaw can see it when they get back.
They each carried a piece of their fresh kill and the adder back to their den. Greypaw carefully placed the adder onto the stump, arranging the snake so that it could be seen clearly from all sides. Then they ate. When they had finished, they sat close together to groom one another and talk.
I wonder who Bluestar will choose to go to the gathering. It'll be full moon tomorrow.
Sandpaw and Dustpaw have been twice already.
Perhaps Bluestar will choose one of us this time. After all, we've been training for almost 3 moons now.
But Sandpaw and Dustpaw are still the eldest apprentices.
And this gathering will be an important one. It'll be the first time the clans have met since WindClan disappeared. No cat knows what ShadowClan is going to say about it.
You are right, youngster.
Tigerclaw's low meow interrupted them. The warrior had strolled up to them unnoticed.
By the way, Firepaw, Bluestar wants to see you.
Firepaw looked up, startled. Why would Bluestar want to see him?
Now, if you can spare the time.
Firepaw jumped up immediately and bounded off across the clearing toward Bluestar's den. Bluestar was sitting outside, her tail flicking restlessly back and forth. When she saw Firepaw, she stood up and looked steadily down at him.
Tigerclaw has told me that he saw you talking with a cat from the Two-Leg place today.
But
He said that you began by fighting with this cat, but ended up sharing tongues with it.
that's true.
Firepaw admitted, feeling his fur prickle defensively.
But he was an old friend. We grew up together. When I was a kitty pet.
Bluestar looked at him for a long moment.
Do you miss your old life, Firepaw? Think carefully now.
No.
How can Bluestar think that? His head was spinning. What was Bluestar trying to make him say?
Do you wish to leave the clan?
Of course not.
Firepaw was shocked by her question. Bluestar didn't seem to hear the passion in his answer. She shook her head, looking suddenly old and tired.
I won't judge you if you do leave us, Firepaw. Perhaps I expected too much of you. Perhaps my judgment has been clouded by the clan's need for new warriors.
Panic swept through Firepaw at the thought of leaving the clan forever.
But my place is here. This is my home.
I need more than that, Firepaw. I need to be able to trust in your loyalty to ThunderClan, especially now that it looks like ShadowClan is planning an attack. We don't have room for anyone who isn't sure where their heart lies in the past or the present.
Firepaw took a deep breath and chose his next words carefully.
When I saw Smudge today, that's the house cat Tiger Claw saw me talking with. I saw what life would have been like if I had stayed with the two legs. I felt happy that I had not stayed. I was proud I left. Meeting Smudge made me feel certain I made the right decision. I could have never been satisfied with the soft life of a kitty pet.
He held Bluestar's gaze without flinching. Bluestar looked very closely at him for a moment, her eyes narrow. Then she nodded.
Very well. I believe you.
Firepaw dipped his head respectfully and let out a sigh of relief.
I spoke to Yellowfang earlier. She thinks a lot of you. She's a wise old she-cat, you know. And I suspect she wasn't always bad-tempered. Indeed, I think I could grow to like her.
Firepaw felt an unexpected glow of pleasure at these words. Maybe, in caring for Yellowfang, his admiration for her had grown into affection, despite the she-cat's ill temper. Whatever the reason, he was glad Bluestar liked her too.
But there is something about her that I don't trust. She will stay with ThunderClan for now, but remain as a prisoner. The queens will care for her. You must concentrate on your training.
Firepaw nodded and waited to be dismissed, but Bluestar hadn't finished.
Firepaw. Although you showed bad judgment today in talking to a house cat, Tigerclaw was impressed by your hunting skills. In fact, he reported that you all did well. I am pleased with your progress. You will come to the gathering, all three of you.
Firepaw could hardly stand still. His body tingled with excitement. The gathering!
What about Sandpaw and Dustpaw?
They will remain behind and guard the camp. Now you may go.
She flicked her long tail to show he was dismissed, and returned to her grooming. Greypaw and Ravenpaw looked stunned to see Firepaw bounding happily toward them. They had been waiting nervously for him beside the tree stump. Firepaw sat down and looked at his friends.
Well, what did she say?
Tigerclaw told us you've been sharing tongues with a kitty pet this morning. Are you in trouble?
No, although Bluestar wasn't pleased. She thought I might want to leave ThunderClan.
You don't, do you?
Of course he doesn't.
Yeah, you'd hate that. You'd need me to catch mice for you. All you can catch these days are hairy old squirrels.
Firepaw gave his grey friend an affectionate swipe. Greypaw dodged out of the way of Firepaw's blow and reared up on his back legs to retaliate.
You'll never guess what else she said.
Firepaw went on. He was too excited to waste time play fighting. Greypaw immediately dropped back onto all four paws.
What?
We're going to the gathering.
Greypaw let out a yowl of delight and bounded up onto the tree stump. One of his back paws knocked the adder flying. It hit Ravenpaw in the head and wrapped itself around his neck. Ravenpaw spat with alarm and surprise, and then turned on Greypaw.
Watch it!
He hissed crossly. He shook the adder onto the ground.
Scared I might try to bite you?
He crouched down, hissing, and slid up to Ravenpaw. Ravenpaw twitched his whiskers and retorted.
Some snake you'd make!
He leapt onto Firepaw and rolled him easily onto his back. Greypaw reached down from the tree stump and gave Ravenpaw's tail a tug. As Ravenpaw turned to thump Greypaw with a soft forepaw, Firepaw jumped to his feet and leapt into them both, sending Greypaw flying from the stump. All three cats tumbled into the dirt and tussled on the ground. Finally, they fell apart and settled themselves, panting beside the tree stump.
Are Sandpaw and Dustpaw coming too?
Nope. They have to stay behind and guard the camp.
Oh, let me tell them. I can't wait to see the looks on their faces.
Me neither. I can't believe we're going instead of them. Especially after Tigerclaw saw me with Smudge today.
That was just bad luck. We all caught a load of prey in the assessment. That must be what decided it.
I wonder what the gathering will be like.
I bet all the great warriors will be there. Clawface, Stumpytail, Nightpelt, Running Nose, ShadowClan's deputy Blackfoot too. Oh,
But Firepaw wasn't listening anymore. Instead, he found himself thinking about Tigerclaw and Smudge. Greypaw was right. It was bad luck that the great warrior had been overseeing him when he had met his old friend. Why couldn't he have been watching Greypaw or Ravenpaw instead? In fact, it was bad luck that Tigerclaw had sent him so near the two-leg place at all. A dark thought entered Firepaw's mind. Why had Tiger Claw sent him so near his old haunts? Could it be the great dark warrior didn't trust his loyalty to ThunderClan?
Apprentice is pretty cute too. Silverpaw, I think her name was. Oh, and Broken Star too, I forgot.